All righty. This time we're back. Boker Tov, everybody. Can you believe after all these years, Turtleside Chat is back. Turtleside Chat is back. And I told you I'd pop in on you. And I didn't tell you exactly when. It's a little bit early here. It's for breakfast. Breakfast with Shaliach. Breakfast with Shaliach. And we're going to get into some deep things that you've been wondering about all these years. We're going to take our time. Again, Boker Tov, good morning, everybody. Turtleside Chats are back. So I want to answer some of the difficult questions. I've been engaged in a marathon now of study for days, actually. And I want to share some things conclusively that we can know, because in Hebrews chapter 7, in verse 15, it says that the things regarding Melchizedek is clear. It's not a mystery. So the first thing I want to say is, if it's a mystery, it's because we lack understanding. That's the first thing I want to say. If it is a mystery, it's because we lack understanding, not because in and of itself, it's a mystery. Now, the second thing that I want to bring to your attention is that we're going to put aside all presumptions of the past. Now, that would be including the understanding that Melchizedek was Shem. Now, the best research and study that I've been able to do, the idea that Melchizedek that met Abraham at the return of the kings in Genesis Bereshit, chapter 14, that was Shem, was a rabbinical tradition of the Second Temple era. Approximately, it started being propagated heavily in the Second Temple era. Okay. We have records at Qumran of Melchizedek being an angel, being a malach. I'm talking about the one that met Abraham. Now, as we learned last Shabbat, and we're going to learn some more tomorrow on Shabbat, is that Luke chapter 3 is not a genealogy, but Luke chapter 3 is a list of all the candidates to be Malki-Tzedek, not necessarily functioning Melchizedeks, because there were only a few functioning Melchizedeks. But we learned in Luke chapter 3 that is a list of all the potential Melchizedeks, and we know David is credited with keeping the order of Melchizedek alive. He put on the ephod, he blessed the people in the name of Yahuwah, his sons ministered. But I want to focus our attention on Hebrews chapter 7. So turn with me to Hebrews chapter 7. Obviously, we're not going to be able to cover it all today, but we can get you started. So again, Turtleside Chats are back at least once a week, maybe twice a week. Now, you might be wondering what happened to Rumble. Well, here's what we decided. We decided to coordinate. I'm only going to say this once, okay? So this way you understand. I'm only going to say this once. So we are syncing the thing with the stream with Rumble. So if I record on Rumble, it will not automatically upload on YouTube. If I record on YouTube, it'll upload on Rumble, number one. So when this is done, it'll upload automatically because it's synced to Rumble. That's number one. Number two, over the last 15 years or more, we built up almost 2,300 listeners here on the YATI channel. And so this more of an opportunity to get the word out, especially the important restoration truths that we are sharing. It's very important to get it out as quickly as we can, because we know we're at the end of the age, and we also know that we're near the return of Yahusha. So again, I want to welcome you. I want to welcome everybody to this Turtleside Chat. We're back and kicking, and I promise you that we would be, I would pop in on you, we'd be on the air, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So, Baruch Hashem, I'm keeping my promise to you. Go with me to, and I might do a little screen sharing here as well. Go with me to Hebrews 7. For this Melchizedek, and we're not going to try to finish it all today. This Melchizedek, Melech of Salam, the Kohen of El Elyon, the priest of El Elyon, who met Avraham returning from the slaughter of the Melachim, he blessed him. So the first thing we have to understand is this is a reference to the so-called mysterious meeting of Melchizedek with Avraham Avinu in Bereshit, chapter 14. And as I just showed you in verse 15, it's not really meant to be complicated or a mystery. And I have studied this very extensively. The whole myth about Shem being Melchizedek is a rabbinical idea that began to be propagated around the time of the Second Temple, maybe a little bit before that, to dissuade people away from who the Malki-Tzedek was, number one. And just as importantly, once Yahusha came, to obfuscate any connection, to hide or obfuscate any connection between Yahusha, whom the Nasarim claimed to be the Messiah, and the idea of Malki-Tzedek. So in order to disconnect that, the rabbis, with total unanimity, even though they didn't agree on a lot of stuff, began to adopt this theory about Shem. And we're going to see very shortly that it's impossible to be Shem. The Melchizedek that met Abraham was not Shem, 100%. And we'll also come to see that it was not Yahusha. Okay, so two people, two personages that it cannot be, and you'll see this in a second, if we have time today. If not, we'll get to it in the next Turtleside chat, which is back. Early morning, breakfast with Shaliach. Have my coffee, grab your coffee. If you're driving, be careful, keep your eyes on the road, and review this. So it cannot be Shem for many reasons. And I don't want to get into it now. We'll get into it. And the second is it cannot be Yahusha. And when you get into the Greek, you will understand why. So we know, again, from what we taught last week, and we're probably going to talk some more tomorrow and upcoming Shabbats, yeah, willing. Luke chapter 3 is the potential order of the Melchizedekian priesthood from the first Adam to this final second Adam. Okay? It is not a genealogy. The only genealogy is found in Matthew. However, I have now believe, and I think you'll see it as well, that the Melchizedek that met Abraham may not be in that list. Doesn't have to be in that list. If it is in that list, it would be Enoch, because there's only other one possibility. And I'll show this to you, as I said. I hope to do it today because I'm going to try to keep it simple, because the word of Yahuwah is simple when it's kept simple. And according to Hebrews 7:15, the entire subject should not be complicated. So I believe in great part we could thank the religious folks and the rabbis for taking something that was meant to be encouraging and meant to be plain to us and making it complicated. Okay, so if you're sharing this or watching this, ask your friends to tune in and join us here on YouTube. They say YouTube, and so forth. Verse 2. So he was returning from the slaughter of the Melachim, and Melchizedek blessed Abraham. So it's very possible that instead of trying to assign a personage to this, and now that we know Luke chapter 3 is a list of all the persons that were eligible, theoretically, had they met all the three branches of government, which none of them did except Yahusha. And yet the particular one in that particular generation that met Avraham may not even be in that list. And I'm coming to believe more and more. If it is someone from that list, again, Luke chapter 3 is a list of the order of Melchizedek. It is not a genealogy. There's only one genealogy in the Besorot, and that is in Matthew chapter 1. We don't need to be confused anymore. If the person that met Abraham is in that list, it would be Enoch, because only he meets those qualifications. However, there's another possibility, and that's what I want to talk about. to whom Avraham gave Maaser, a tithe, first being the interpretation Melech of Tzedakah, after that, the Melech of Salem, which is the Melech of the King of Shalom, the King of Peace. So we have the King of Peace, and we also have the King of Righteousness. We have Malki-Tzedek was both King of Peace, King of Righteousness, ministered in the land of Salem. And we know that at the altar of Melchizedek, which is archaeologically discovered in the city of David. We discussed that. Now, this is all based on Genesis chapter 14. Okay, and I'm going to throw that in. You should be familiar with the very few verses in Genesis 14. All this controversy, all these debates, and all these things come from a few verses in Bereshit 14. If you can believe that, volumes and volumes and volumes, and books and books and books over the years that have been studied, debated, argued about, all center around a handful of verses. You know, you would think that we would get our hands around it rather than have all kind of debates and divisions over a handful of verses. And we can go back there, but I'm going to go under the assumption that the people that I'm talking to have a basic background and a basic understanding that the account is recorded in Bereshit chapter 14, and that's the one that we're talking about. Neither is he, to whom also Abraham gave a maaser. Okay, we got that. Verse 3. Neither his Ima, his Abba are recorded in the genealogies without beginning of Yamim, no end of Chaim, but made immortal, or is immortal, like the son of Yahuwah, who is the one who abides as a Kohen continually. So there's a lot to open up here. The first thing that I want to open up, and this is key to understanding. I mean, literally key to understanding. If you can grab a hold of this, you're going to be in good shape. So let me see if I can get this up on the screen share. There we go. Okay, it's up on the screen share. Very important. When we come in verse 3, the word like, and then again elsewhere, like for instance, in Hebrews 7:15, it is clear that after the likeness of Melchizedek. Okay, so whoever's being spoken of here, in this case would be Yahusha, is like Melchizedek. Okay, verse 3 that we're talking about now is that Melchizedek is like the son of Yahuwah. Look at verse 3. Not the other way around. See, most people have it the other way around. Oh, Yahusha is like Melchizedek, and that's part of the problem. Okay, right there, that's part of the problem. We read that backwards in Hebrews 7:3. We read it as if the son of Yahuwah is like Melchizedek. Well, last time I checked, Yahusha was the Aleph Tav. He was the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the Alpha, the Omega. So that means that Yahusha was before Melchizedek. Okay, so if the Melchizedek that met Avraham from the return of the kings, of the slaughter of the kings, is like Yahusha. Yahusha is not like Melchizedek. See, Yahusha's come, we received him as our savior, and we look back at history and we say, oh, Yahusha's like Melchizedek, or Yahusha was Melchizedek. Both are incorrect. Okay, so it was the Melchizedek who met Abraham, who was like the son of Yahuwah. See, the son of Yahuwah came first. This is responsible for a lot of the misunderstanding and a lot of the who came first. In this case, it's not who came first, the chicken or the egg. In this case, it's who came first, Yahusha or the Melchizedek that met Abraham. This was such a special, different kind of Melchizedek visitation that I don't even believe it's recorded in Luke chapter 3. The Melchizedek that met Avraham in Bereshit chapter 14, I do not believe at this point that he's even recorded, and doesn't need to be recorded. That's the whole point. In other words, he became like Yahusha. Now you see me, now you don't. Okay? So, this particular this particular Melchizedek, the Greek word is homeosis. Now you'll notice with an I. That's similar to or like. Like, or the Greek word in verse 3, the Greek word in verse 15, similar to. If Messiah was the Melchizedek who met Abraham, the word would be homosisios without an I. Okay, so you see it up on your screen. If Melchizedek was Messiah, the Greek word would be homosousios, but it is homoiousios, which means similar. Okay, I can show you this in the Bible Hub here. I'll see if I can grab the Bible Hub. All right. Bible Hub. Well, I'm going to have to end this and see what I can come up with here. Bible Hub. I know you're there, Bible Hub. All right. Let's see if we can grab it. Give me 1 second. There you go. And I'm going to put my pretty pundit back on there. I don't want to keep this stuff up there. I just want to show you when I need to show you. Okay. This is he who gave a maaser of all a portion to Abraham, being translated King of Righteousness and also King of Salam, which is King of Peace. Okay, that's basic understanding. Verse 3, and this is what I'm talking about. Without father, without mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days, nor life, nor beginning of life, no end, having been made similar. See, that word there is with an I. Or in Greek is iota, I guess, whatever that letter is. I'm not a Greek expert, but you see right there. Okay? O, iota, omega. Omega, iota, omega. Okay. Again, I'm not a Greek expert. Okay? So right there, we see this is similar, not the same. And so that's very important. There is no way Messiah was the Melchizedek, because one was similar to the Aleph Tav. Similar means likeness, bearing resemblance, in many ways looking and functioning the same, but not the same being, not the same person. So right off the bat in verse 3, in this Turtleside chat, we can understand that it's crystal clear. Verse 15 says it's crystal clear. Number one, the Aleph Tav came first. Yahusha HaMashiach is a Kohen continually. Okay? Continually. Same with Melchizedek. He's similar to the one who came first. He can't be the Aleph Tav because he came second. This is also not a theophany necessarily, or a Christophany. You're thinking, okay, well, maybe this is an Old Testament appearance of Yahusha. No. Similar to the Aleph Tav, but not being the Aleph Tav. Now, again, we're not talking about all the Melchizedeks. All the Melchizedeks were simple. They were human. They had certain qualifications. They were not similar in most ways to the son of Yahuwah, okay? This one appeared and then disappeared. The son of Yahuwah had no human father, no human mother. Let me get out of there. Had no human father, no human mother. Had no start of life. Had no end of life because he is the Aleph and the Tav. So whoever Melchizedek was, and we're down to two choices. You'll see that in a few minutes. Whoever Melchizedek was, we're left with two choices, and he had to have all the same qualifications. This eliminates Shem. It also, in some ways, eliminates Enoch. Because Enoch, his genealogy is listed in Genesis chapter 5. So it eliminates Yahusha, because Yahusha is not the same. Melchizedek is not the same as Yahusha. Okay, rather he's like Yahusha. The Melchizedek that made Abraham is like with the I, homoousios, as opposed to homoousios, missing the I. If it was homoousios in Hebrews chapter 7, it would be the same. It would be the same individual. It'd be the same person. Okay, so let's get down deep into our Turtleside kishkis, all right? So he abides continually. So like Yahusha, because Yahusha abides continually. Now remember the context of Hebrews. The whole reason Hebrews is written is to encourage and to implore Israelites, Jewish people in particular, Israelites, not to keep trusting in the sacrificial system that is going to be done away with in about 40 years. It's going to be gone. It's not going to be there anymore. It's not going to be efficacious. It's going to disappear with the temple. Okay. This is a parable of the age that's disappearing and the millennial kingdom coming, a different age, and then the Olam Haba. So don't trust in it. Don't go back to the ceremonial sacrifices. The final lamb goat has come, the final lamb goat, Yahusha. So the whole book of Hebrews, starting with Genesis 1:1, is a comparison between the Kohen HaGadol in the order of Melchizedek, or we got to be careful with that word now too, and I'll explain to you that in a little while. He's greater than angels, Hebrews chapter 1. Then later in Hebrews chapter 2 and 3, he's greater than Moses. Then later on, the one who built the house is greater than the builder of the house. I'm sorry, the one who built the house is greater than the one who serves in the house. So all of Hebrews is written to appeal to Israelites and Jewish people in particular, okay, to trust in the one who's greater than the prophets. The Father spoke to the prophets in the old days, in the ancient times, okay? Greater than the prophets, greater than angels, greater than the Torah, greater than Moses. Lastly, greater than the Levitical priesthood. So Yahusha serves Yahuwah continually as a Kohen Gadol in a way that's greater than the Levitical priesthood. So the whole book of Hebrews is to emphasize and to lift up and propagate the preeminence and primacy of the greatness of Messiah. Okay, that's the whole point. So the writer of Hebrews, the author of Hebrews, is not even interested in Melchizedek, to be honest with you. That's the honest truth. The writer of Hebrews is not even interested in Melchizedek. He only brings up Melchizedek to show you that Messiah is greater than him. Okay? Greater than the Levitical priesthood, greater than the sons of Aaron, the Aaronic priesthood, greater than Melachim, greater than Moshe, greater than Torah, greater than the Nevi'im, Hebrews 1:1. And this word here, similar, I want to show you in Hebrews chapter 2, another usage of that word, similar with the I, not the same. Hebrews 2:17. Okay. Hebrews 2:17. In every way, speaking about Messiah, it behooved him to be made like his Israelite brothers. He wasn't a human being. He didn't have a mother and a father like a human being, but he was like his Israelite brothers, but he wasn't an Israelite man or an Israelite woman. Look at Hebrews 2:17. That word there for like is the same word that I taught you before. Similar. Okay? Similar. Homoousios with the I, not homoousios, the same. So not only do we see it in Hebrews chapter 7, we see it here in Hebrews 2:17. It says that he might be full of rachamim as a faithful high priest, Kohen HaGadol, in things pertaining to Yahuwah, to make a porah, to make atonement for the sins of Israel. Let me just share this with some folks here on Facebook so I can give them a chance to enjoy our first new Turtleside chat. I'm thinking the Turtleside chat's going to be early in the morning. That's what I'm thinking. I'm a morning person and I like to get up early. So it's a good possibility that we'll get you started on these Turtleside chats and get your day started early when I can do it. I don't know if it's once a week, twice a week, with the blessed word of Yahuwah. Okay? Fair enough. So I'm just sharing this with Facebook now, so we'll get some of those folks involved. and give them the opportunity to participate as well. So Baruch Hashem Yahweh. They're participating. All right. So it's the same word there, like his Israelite brethren, to make an atonement for the people before Yahuwah. So he became like without being a normal human being Israelite. It's the same word. Now go back to Hebrews 7. That's a very important point. At the end of verse 3, he continues continually. In other words, he's functioning continually. Okay. Not that the Melchizedek who met Abraham is eternal or eternally functioning. That same guy, that same being, the same being that met Abraham in Genesis 14 is not the same guy who is high priest today. The word at the end of verse 3, let's go to the Greek, Hebrews 7:3. He remains a priest continually. Okay, continually. Diakonos. Yeah. Don't you just love those Greek terms? Right here on your screen. Diakonos. Okay. In other words, he's continuing. Yahushua HaMashiach is continuing to do what he always did, regardless of who the Melchizedek was that appeared to Abraham. Because Yahusha was first. Yahusha was the Aleph Tav. He's the Alpha, the Omega. So he was doing what he was doing for all time. And today he's our high priest, and he'll be our high priest continually, for all times, continually. So Melchizedek, the one that made Abraham, forget everybody else in that list in Luke chapter 3. The one that met Abraham, he was similar. Not exactly the same. Because his ministry is not continual. It's similar, no mother, no father, no, he's not in genealogies. That kicks out Shem. To be honest with you, that even kicks out Enoch. Again, there were two possibilities, and I haven't gotten to the other one on purpose. I may not even get to it today. I may not want to. Or then again, I may. I'm not sure. But first, I want to show you who it's not. Okay? So Melchizedek that met Abraham, okay, very, very similar to the Messiah, but not the Messiah that we know. But remember, the key is, see, we've got this reversed. Well, who do you think Melchizedek was? Do you think Messiah, Christ, was Melchizedek? Right? Why? Because we start with Messiah having to be like Melchizedek, instead of Melchizedek serving like the Aleph Tav. It's the other way around. Who came first? There's no chicken and egg here. What came first, the chicken or the egg? There's no chicken and the egg here. There is the Aleph Tav, and then there is everybody else. Now, I want you to notice in verse 4, we're in Hebrews 7:4. Again, I'm assuming that those of you who are Turtleside chatting with me, isn't that cool to reinstate that? As someone told me the other day, oh man, I missed those Turtleside chats. So again, and if you just joined me, the reason we're doing YouTube is because YouTube will sync to Rumble, not the other way around. Rumble doesn't sync to YouTube. So if we broadcast on Rumble, nobody else can benefit. If we broadcast on YouTube, it'll be up on Rumble automatically the next day. So Hebrews 7:4. Let me show you how tricky translations are. Consider now how great this one to whom even the Maaser Abraham gave. Let's consider how great this one was to whom even the patriarch Abraham gave Maaser, the tithe. Okay, so again, the whole point of the book of Hebrews is to show the preeminence of Messiah. It's not to teach or speculate who Melchizedek was. That's the problem. When our assumption is wrong, it turns into a presumption, or guesswork. When our assumptions are wrong, they become presumptions, and our presumptions are guesswork. Okay, if your presumption is wrong, your conclusion is going to be wrong. The book of Hebrews is not written so that we can know who Melchizedek was. The book of Hebrews is written to show you that whatever you're trusting in, other than Yahusha and the finished work, you will not inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah, because you're relying on your own righteousness and you're relying on your own peace, your own shalom, and we know that doesn't work. Consider how great this man was. Now, you'll notice the word here is hutos. There's a different word in the Greek for man, okay? So you'll notice in your translations, it says man. So right away, it says how great this man was. What man? There is no man here. Consider how great this one, which one? Which one? Melchizedek. Because even the patriarch Abraham, okay, or even Abraham gave a tenth, dekaten, a tenth, did the patriarch of the best spoils. Okay? I don't see a man here. So again, we have another translation issue. Consider how great this one was. In other words, he wasn't a man, because verse 3 just told you he had no human father. He had no human mother. Bye-bye Enoch. Bye-bye Shem. And again, those of you who are just waking up, I want to emphasize that Shem is a myth. It's a Jewish fable. Paul said, give heed to endless genealogies. Take heed. Beware of endless genealogies and Jewish fables. Shem is one of those Jewish fables. Now, before I forget, in the book of Jasher, allegedly it talks about Shem being Melchizedek. So that's one reason I don't believe the book of Jasher is inspired by the Ruach HaKadosh. Not the one we have today. The one Joshua mentions in Joshua 10:13, yes, that one was inspired. But what we have now is a mixture of fake and fiction. It's a mixture of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But even if it was true, even if the book of Jasher that we have today was accurate, I want to show you something. Where in the book of Jasher does it say that Shem was Melchizedek? Where in the book of Jasher? It doesn't say that. What does it say? What does it say? It says Adonai Tzedek. Oh, there's another Adonai Tzedek in Judges chapter 10. How do we believe that Melchizedek was Shem when the guy mentioned in Jasher is not called Melchizedek? And the Adonai Tzedek, David was an Adonai Tzedek. Nathan was an Adonai Tzedek. The sons of David in the lineage of Luke chapter 3, the potential candidates to be a Melchizedek, provided they could find a way to reunite and restore all three branches of government. The firstborn, the king, and the Levitical order. Okay? So people say, oh, even the book of Jasher says that Melchizedek was Shem. It does not say that. We need to stop guessing and listening to other people. We have to do our own homework. 2 Timothy 2:15. We have to study ourselves to show ourselves approved unto Yahuwah, a workman who need not be ashamed. There's no Melchizedek in there. There's Adonai Tzedek. And if you look at Judges chapter 10, there was another Adonai Tzedek, which doesn't mean it was the same Melchizedek. Not only that, there's no man here. It says this one. Just the opposite. This one, just like the Aleph Toph. The Aleph Toph was one who had no father, mother, no descent, no genealogies. The Aleph Toph was one. And so was this one. They're like each other. They're not the same. I am 100% sure that the Melchizedek who met Abraham was not the Messiah, the Christ that we know. 100%. But here's the tricky part. Very similar. But you have to remember again. You have to remember again that the book of Hebrews is not written to help you discover Melchizedek. The book of Hebrews is not written to help you identify who Melchizedek was that met Abraham on the return of the kings of the slaughter. The book of Hebrews is to bring you away from all that garbage and speculation about this one and that one and this one and that one and Levi and this one and that one and who is the son, who is the son, who is the daughter, who is legitimate, who is the heir, who's not the heir, who's the fake heir, who should be in the genealogy, who shouldn't be in the genealogy. That's a lot of stuff. And it clutters us and it clots us and it clogs our shalom. And we begin to doubt and question the word of Yahuwah when we don't have a basic understanding of why Yahuwah did certain things in certain ways in certain genealogies. The book of Hebrews is to call us out of the who is Melchizedek? What size shoe did Abraham wear? How come there's 2 generations missing? Okay. How come there's a curse on this one? And that's nice if you have extra time. But that's not the preeminence. That's not the predominance of what we should be doing. And we're not going to do that in our ministry. We're going to focus in on how great this man was because he was similar to the Aleph Tav. You can't be similar to the Aleph Tav and be the Aleph Tav. It was definitely not Messiah. It was definitely not Shem. Even Enoch is questionable because, number one, Enoch is in Luke chapter 3. And Enoch does meet some of the qualifications. But let's see if he meets all of the qualifications. Remember, we're not talking about Melchizedek's that listed in Luke chapter 3. We're talking about which one met Abraham. So there's no man here. Consider how great this one was. Not a man, that even the patriarch paid tithes. Truly, verse 5. They that are the sons of Levi receive the office of Kohanim of the house of Aaron, have a mitzvah to take maaser tithes from the people, according to Torah from their Israelite brothers, even though they came out of the loins of Abraham. So even the Leviim collect tithes from their brethren, even though Levi came out of the loins of Abraham through Isaac, Jacob, and then Levi. So he's focusing in on the preeminence of the Aleph Tav, not who is Melchizedek. See, that's where we get all messed up. He doesn't care. Even though he knows, he doesn't care. What he cares about is that we are part of a new way of a new worship, a new way of approaching Yahuwah, which is the original way. Not really a new way, but the original way. Okay. Verse 6, and then I'm going to get into Psalm 110. You're going to see something amazing. Okay, simply amazing. But you got to stay plugged in. Don't forget to share these Turtleside chats. I'm going to leave them up on the channel. They're going to be on Rumble. Make sure you subscribe to the YATI channel. Verse 6, he whose descent is not recorded in their genealogies, meaning that one. It doesn't say man. There's no man there. He's similar to the son of Yahuwah because the son of Yahuwah came first. This guy, this being came later. But even though he came later, like Yahusha, he had no beginning of days, verse 3, no end of Yamim, was immortal. I want to see something before I go further. But let me just read the rest of this. He received maaser from Avraham and blessed Avraham, who had the promises of physical multiplicity and to be a father of many amim, Av ha'amim, the father of many nations. I want to see something here. Let's go back to verse 3 in the Greek. I want to something I need to know. This is very, very important for me. I'll be right with you. I'll be right with you. Okay. Here's another problem. Let me put you on screen share. This is exactly what I suspected. Which is why I looked it up. Let's go back to Hebrews 7:3. So in most translations, it says, including RST&E, by the way, it says he was made immortal. So it sounds like the guy who met Abraham used to be mortal and was made immortal. Okay, that would be Enoch. He used to be mortal, but he was made immortal. That would fit nicely with Enoch. Except here's the issue. Without father, without mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days, nor having an end of life, because it never started. Having been made, or never having been made. Look at that. Never having been made. So there's no made immortal here. Okay? No mother, no father, no beginning of days, no end of life. Having like, okay, not made immortal, but made similar to the son of Yahuwah. Okay, Melchizedek was made similar to the son of Yahuwah. It doesn't say he was immortal or he was made immortal. It doesn't say that. Without mother, without father, neither beginning of days, end of life, having no end, however he was like, there's that word again, not the same, but however, no beginning of days, no end of days, no end of life. However, he was similar or like the son of Yahuwah and remains a priest continually. There it is. So when you think of made immortal, first thing that comes to mind is, Enoch. He started out mortal, and then in Genesis 5, he was made immortal. But that doesn't qualify here. That doesn't qualify. So verse 7. And without any contradiction. So see verse 15, Hebrews 7:15 says, this is clear, and yet it's as clear as mud. Okay, and then the rabbis and the rabbinics put Shem in there to muddy up the waters even more. It was already not clear. And it's just about as clear as mud. Who that thing was, that being that met Avraham. Okay, we know who all the other potential Melchizedeks were based on the list, the priestly list in Luke chapter 3. But very little is known about this guy, especially from the fact that we don't know where to look for him. He pops up and he disappears. He pops in and he's gone. What we do know is he was like the son of Yahuwah. But whatever he was based on the Aleph Toph, not the Aleph Toph being like Melchizedek or being Melchizedek. It's impossible that the Aleph Toph is Melchizedek or could be Melchizedek, because when the Aleph Toph was the Aleph Toph, there was no Melchizedek and there was no priesthood. There was nada. There was the word of the Father that dwelt in the bosom of the Father. All right? John 1:17. So not only verse 15 says this should be clear, and because of religion, it's as clear as mud. And even Jasher doesn't say Shem was Melchizedek. You see how careful you have to be? You see how very careful? What does the book of Jasher say? It says Shem was Adonai Tzedek. Well, there's another Adonai Tzedek in Joshua chapter 10 or Judges chapter 10. Is that the same Shem? Of course not. Of course not. That's a completely different one. Without any contradiction, the lesser Avraham is blessed by the greater. So if the Melchizedek was Shem, how is Shem greater than Abraham? When Abraham was the first monotheist, when Abraham was the first to become the father of many nations, when Abraham is the one who received the promises, all the promises, none of those things were given to Shem. So if it was Shem, there is no way. Listen to me, baby. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. There's no contradiction. In other words, there's no possibility that this was a human being. Maybe not even a human being that became immortal, like Enoch. So it's simple, it's clear, it should be, but it's been clear as mud, hasn't it? Most of you listening today, having breakfast with me in the renewal of the Turtleside chats here on YouTube and on Rumble, it's not clear to you. Nothing about this is clear to you. You still are stupefied. There's no cure for stupidity, you know that, but there is a cure for lack of knowledge. My people don't have to be destroyed for lack of knowledge, but my people can be destroyed for lack of knowledge. But with a little knowledge, they don't have to be destroyed. Knowing that Messiah is the only way, truth, and the life, just knowing that little knowledge, make sure that you will not perish and that you will not be destroyed with the unrighteous. Okay? So without contradiction, the being that blessed Abraham was far greater. That takes Shem out of the picture, because Shem is in the list. He's a co-equal to Abraham, and so is Enoch. Enoch is in the list of potential Melchizedeks because he is an equal to Abraham, okay, if not less than Abraham. But it should be clear, and it should be without contradiction, that the one who blessed Abraham and blessed El Elyon, okay, and ordained Abraham into the Melchizedekian order was greater than Abraham, not his ancestor, not his great grandpa, because that doesn't make him greater. In order to make the one who ordained Avraham into the order, he has to be out of this world. And similar to the olive top, not similar to Abraham. The one who blessed Abraham is so much greater that he has to be similar to the olive top, the Kohen forever, Yahusha. Okay? But he doesn't have to be similar to Abraham. Any of those guys that we just mentioned would not be greater than Abraham. Abraham is the greatest. He's the father of all three of the main monotheistic faiths of the world. Okay. Torah faith. I don't want to call it Judaism, even though that's what it's called today. Torah faith, Islam, and Christianity. He's the father of all the faithful. Romans chapter 4, he's the father of all the faithful. Grab your coffee and dig in, man. Dig in. We're going to be digging out pretty soon, so I don't want to cover a lot more. Verse 8, here mortal men receive Maaser. He's comparing, this is not to help you find out who Melchizedek is. This is the problem. Who is Melchizedek? I don't know. I think. That's the whole point. The whole point is this is written to show you that Messiah is greater than everything, greater than Moses, greater than the Torah that was written on paper, greater than the 2 tablets, greater than angels, greater than those who labor in the house, because he's the builder of the house, greater than the Levitical priesthood, greater than Aaron, greater than Moses, greater than Joseph, the son of the double portion. That's the whole point. It's not to help you pull out your hair if you have any hair left. And to sit there and check Christian sources, Hebrew sources, Islamic, check sources to try to figure out and put the pieces together. And then when you're frustrated and you can't, you wind up receiving the interjection of the Jewish fable that was put in around the time of Yahusha. So today it's an almost universally held belief in Judaism and in Torah, Talmudic, Babylonian Talmudic Judaism, that Melchizedek is Shem. That's injected to pull you away from what Hebrews is written. Hebrews is written to protect you from the lies of religion. Hebrews was written to center you, to center your focus, to ground you in the pillar of truth, which is the Alpha and the Omega, and not to be swayed by endless genealogies and Jewish fables. They go together, the fables and the genealogies. Sometimes the more you study genealogies, the more sucked in you get into fables. Sometimes the more you study genealogies, the more vulnerable you are to Jewish fables, or even Catholic fables, or any other fables for that matter. Here, meaning in the Aaronic priesthood that all you who are reading the book of Hebrews are part of, because remember, they were part of the Aaronic priesthood and the temple that was still standing when the book of Hebrews was written. He says, here, in this life, mortal men. But the being that met Yahusha was one who lives forever. Not a man, and not a mortal man, and not an immortal man. No, not someone who may have become immortal. Simply the one. He's called the one. He's not called the man. We saw that. That's not in the text. The fact that Melchizedek that met Abraham was a man is not in the text, which leads me to believe that he's also not in Luke chapter 3. He was special. That being was a special being that was immortal, like Yahusha, no father, no mother, no genealogies. Now you see me, now you don't. I'm here and I'm gone. Okay? No record of being there before, no record after being there after he's gone. I believe this is a separate being, a one, not a man, like Yahusha in almost every way without being Yahusha. Okay? Because if it was Yahusha, the Greek word would be, I showed you earlier, without the I. It would be the same. So we don't want to confuse like translators have done, and like we have done in our studies, most of us. We don't want to confuse the same with similar. Okay? That's a big difference between the same and similar. Here, mortal men receive maaser. But there, the one who is continual. Look at that. The being that is continual. Let's go back to screen share. The being that is continual. We're in verse 9, right? So let's fast forward a little bit. Get it up on the screen for you guys. How's your breakfast this morning? Are you driving through Dunkin'? All right, grab that donut. Maybe some of you have sliced up a pear to get your day started. That's good. Eggs and olive oil, they're delicious, but not so good. They are delicious. So Hebrews 7:9. And so a word, interesting, to speak through Abraham and Levi, tithes receiving, paid the tithes. Interesting. And we're in Hebrews 7:9. Oh, sorry. I went through it at 8. Pardonnez-moi. And here, tithes, dying men receive tithes. In that place, it is testified, okay, that he lives on continually, or that he lives. See, there's no eternal, living forever. None of that stuff is here. That being that made Abraham is continual. Continual. Not he lives, he's everlasting, or he is high priest forever. It doesn't say that. It just says he's continual. The one who received tithes from Avraham, he lives on. Before he met Abraham, he lived. When he met Abraham, he lived. After he met Abraham, he disappeared. But he lived. Sounds like someone I know. But not the same, similar. Not could be a little nuanced, could be somewhat nuanced, but not the same. I'm going to stop here, but I'm not going to stop the chat, the Turtleside chat. I'm going to take you to some amazing. You're going to be glad you got up early. You're going to be glad you got up. Go ahead, take a sip with me. L'chaim. Coffee. How did people live without coffee? Did they live without coffee? So, did Melchizedek live without coffee? Well, he says he lives, but it doesn't say he lived without coffee, right? No, I'm willing to bet Yahusha didn't drink coffee. So if Melchizedek is like Yahusha, I'm guessing Melchizedek that met Abraham. Remember, there was a lot, 77 Melchizedeks. Remember that. But we're talking about this one. See, and he's not called a man, and he's also not. It doesn't say he is the eternal high priest. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say Melchizedek is the eternal high priest. It says Yahusha is, and it also doesn't say he was a man. It says he was like the high priest, the son of Yahuwah, whose priesthood lives on. Oh, so Yahusha's priesthood lives on. Yep. The one who met the being that met Abraham. Yep. His priesthood lives on. So where am I going with all this? Well, let's go to the Hebrew. And I don't even know if I want to get it on the screen, but I guess I could, because you guys are behaving pretty good this morning. All right, but you're gonna have to give me a minute if you want me to do that. I can't do that in 5 seconds. All right, in the meantime, because my board operator is missing here. It's not here today. Okay, let's go to Tehillim. And by the way, Tehillim 110 is one of the most quoted Psalms in the Brit Hadashah. In the Brit Hadashah, Psalm 110 is one of the most quoted Psalms. And even I misquoted this over the years until I began to study this thing out of curiosity. And I've been studying this pretty intensely over the last week or so. Some of you have not heard from me too much. You wonder, I'm okay. Praise be to Yah. Praise be to Yah, Most High Yahweh Eloheinu, the sustainer and preserver of Chaim, both under the sun and in the bosom. We will be in Yahuwah's bosom, sitting on his throne, to be absent from the body. So this great Yahusha has delivered us, so that if we're in the fear of the future, fear of death, fear that we don't have to be. Our future is guaranteed. And I'd be worried if my future wasn't guaranteed. So the book of Hebrews, again, is not written to help you identify Melchizedek that met Abraham. It's there almost as an afterthought. Who Melchizedek is, the Hebrews and the Brit Hadashah does not even care. Okay, we care because it's interesting, it's provocative. These are points of discussion, right? But the whole book of Hebrews is written to show you that the preeminence and the most important thing is the Messiah, greater than the prophets, greater than the fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, greater than the angels, greater than the Torah, greater than the written Torah, greater than the one who gave the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu, greater than Aaron and the house of Aaron and the sons of Aaron, greater than David, greater than all the Melchizedeks, all the potential Melchizedeks that were listed in Luke chapter 3. So let's go quickly. I'm going to read quickly, and we're going to wind this down for today because I don't want to do too much, okay? Too much of a good thing is not a good thing, right? Something like that. Is that the way it goes? Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So let me put this up on the screen, boys and girls. All right. I know you want to see me, but it's more important that you see this. Psalm 110 is the most quoted psalm in the Brit Chadashah, okay? It's the most quoted and the most referenced in regard to bringing to the forefront the preeminence of Yahusha. Let me read the whole thing for you in Hebrew, and then I want to get to the part that I want to focus in on, okay? And y'all can follow along with me. Where was we? Ne'um Yahuwah el Adoni, sheval yemini ad asita ovecha, hadam leraglecha. Mateo zecha yishlach Yahuwah metzion, reda bekerev ovecha, amcha, nadbat bayom chilecha, behadrei kodesh, marchem mishachar lecha, tal yelodetecha, nishba Yahuwah velo yenacham, ata kohen leolam al dibrati, Malki-Tzedek. So I'm going to stop with verse 4. Okay? I just read you the entire psalm. Yahuwah said to my Adon, sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. I agree with that interpretation. The rod of your strength, Yahuwah shall send out of Zion. You will rule in the midst of your enemies. I agree with that interpretation. Your people shall be volunteers in the days of your power and the beauty of your holiness. From the womb before Hesperus, meaning before Satan, in the morning, in the dew of your youth. I agree with most of that. Nishba Yahuwah, here's where we got to slow down a little bit. Nishba Yahuwah, swore Yahuwah, velo yenachem, and will not change his mind. Lo yenachem. Ata kohen, you are a priest, leolam, continually. Okay, you are a continual priest. Al, based, this is extremely important. We already know that Melchizedek is not Yahusha. We also know, because Yahusha came first. If anything, it'd be the other way around, right? Yahusha is not Melchizedek, because Yahusha came first. Melchizedek is something, some other being. You are a Kohen continually, leolam, could be forever or continually. Al, based on, according to, okay, but al could be on, upon, based on, or based upon. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Keep your hands on that steering wheel. If you got to go to the bathroom, go. Just go. You can review this when you get back. Now, it's interpreted order, but the real word for order is darache or derech, like the way, the truth, and the life. Derech, like we are in the way, we are in the derech. So to say in the way or the order or the manner of, the better interpretation would be darche. Atakohem leolam al darche Malki-Tzedek. But isn't that interesting? Divrati, why being my, possessive noun. Davar, most of you should be familiar with that word davar. Bereshit haya hadavar, v'hadayar haya Yahuwah, v'hadavar haya im Yahuwah. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yahuwah, and the Word was Yahuwah. Then John 1:1 And then we go from John 1:1 to John 1:14. And the davar, or debarti, my word, same word here we see on the screen, Psalm 110, verse 4. My word became flesh. Oh. 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 There's nothing about an order here. I don't see the word derech, darche. Isn't that interesting? So Yahusha, sit at my right hand, okay? Yahusha, don't return to the earth until I make your enemies your footstool. Okay. Yahuwah will send your mighty scepter, Matah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, out of Zion, and you will rule in the middle of your enemies. Your people will volunteer to serve you in the day that your might and splendor is unleashed in Kedoshah and holiness. From the womb, before the morning, before Hesperus, from the time you were young, Yahuwah has already nishba, sworn, okay? V'lo yinachem, nishba, Yahuwah has sworn, v'lo, negation, will not yinachem, will not relent or change his mind. Ata, you are Kohen, continually, based on or according to my word, Melchizedek. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You will destroy your enemies. All those who volunteer to serve you will be part of your overcoming army by the strength that you had from your continuation from before as the olive top. And you will become a not a Levitical priest, but a Kohen based on my Melchizedek, my word. Or another way to say it, based on Melchizedek, who was my word. Oh my gosh. So not you will be born into the existing eternal order of Melchizedek. That, I mean, yeah, but everybody knows Daled Beit Resh. As a matter of fact, the 10 Commandments are called the 10 words. How do we say 10 words in Hebrew? Eser hadvarim. The, definite article, the 10 words, right? How about that? How about that? So wait a second. What I'm proposing is that Melchizedek was the word. Not the word or the order or the instructions. It doesn't say that. If you notice, after Dibrati, okay, Dibrati, my word, my instructions, based on the word, there's no comma, there's no period, there's no new thought, there's no afterthought, there's no new sentence. My word, Melchizedek. Doesn't say the word of Melchizedek. That would have been Devar Shel Malki-Tzedek, the word of Malki-Tzedek. Hadvarim Shel, or the words of Malki-Tzedek. In other words, you're going to be a high priest based on the words of Malki-Tzedek. It doesn't say that. It literally says, my word, no comma, no hyphen, no period. My word, Malki-Tzedek. Oh, no father, no mother, no genealogy, Oh, meaning there's no man there. It was the one who blessed Abraham was greater. The one Abraham met. It doesn't say man. Nowhere in the text does it say a man. So it can't be one of those dudes in Luke chapter 3. Now you see me, now you don't. Now you see that being, now you don't. He pops in, then the being pops in, then the being pops out. You, Yahusha, sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. Yahuwah has sworn, Velo Yinachem, and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever, le'olam. You are a priest continually. Al dibrati, on account of or based on my word, Malki-Tzedek. Now, the Greek word here is taxon, which is also a mistranslation, order. It should be logos. Okay, if you look at this text in the Brit Hadashah, the word there is taxon, the Greek word. Taxon is translated order. Just like here, my word, devarti, is mistranslated in this context, order. So the Greek has the same mistranslation, order. It should read in the Greek. Instead of taxon, it should read logos, or the personal form of logos, my logos. You are a priest forever, according to my logos, Malki-Tzedek. In the beginning was the logos, and the word was with the logos, and the word was logos. So because we have a basic misunderstanding in the Hebrew, that misunderstanding carried right over into the Brit Hadashah, where instead of translating it logos, my logos, is translated order, taxon. Okay? It's the same basic misunderstanding. Okay? It's not about an order. It's not about who the mother is, who the father is, who's Melchizedek. No. It couldn't be Shem. Shem was an equal, an ancestor. It could be argued that Shem was lesser than Abraham. Same with Enoch. Even if Enoch was made immortal, the fact that he was in the genealogy, of Abraham makes him at best equal, not greater, because all the promises in Scripture that carry over to the Brit Hadashah is based on the father of many nations. Romans chapter 4, the father of the Emunah to all those who believe in Mashiach. Not only the father of the Emunah to all those who believe in Yeshua, even the father of the ones who believe in Allah, even of the fathers of the ones who believe in Hashem and reject Mashiach. No, nobody written in this book can be greater than Abraham. They could be called the equal of Abraham. They could be called as great as Abraham. But the author of Hebrews says it is clear, verse 15, Hebrews 7:15. Then it says it is evident without any contradictions. So if it's not evident, if it's not simple, if there are contradictions, it's because we're believing some religious stuff, or we're reading this and listening to this to find out who Melchizedek was. Because when we give up trying to find out who Melchizedek was that met Abraham, then it'll be revealed to you. What will be revealed to you? That the Logos, Davarti, the Devar Yahuwah, of course, is greater than Abraham, but it's not Yahusha. And we'll talk more about how could it be the Logos or the Devar Yahuwah? How is that not the same as Yahusha? That's a good question. We'll try to answer that for you. Hey, I want you to join me tonight on Zoom. We're not going to be on the Portuguese channel. That means you're going to have to come into the room and expose yourself as a student. I'm here. I want a fellowship. I want to learn. I want to ask questions. Okay. I'm not going to let you stay on YouTube anymore and hide. I'm sorry. Because if we're going to do that, then I can sleep or watch television. I don't need to be there. All right. I'm assuming that you're looking for fellowship. Okay. A lot of you say, oh, I'm so alone. I'm so alone. I don't have anybody who believes near me. Well, part of that's your fault, because the fellowship that is there, you don't want to be part of because you like to be off camera. Well, we're not going to allow that anymore. Okay. So Turtleside chat renewed, number 1, under the belt. Please review this many times because this is a mind blower. But we can take comfort in the fact that Hebrews 7 emphasizes in 2 or 3 places. It's simple and there are no contradictions. Okay, provided we remember the reason for the book of Hebrews. It will be simple without any contradictions, provided we focus on the real reason that the writer of Hebrews, Paul or Barnabas, even brings up Melchizedek. He's not interested in Melchizedek. He's interested in stopping you from trusting in ceremonial ordinances that are about to disappear in the next 40 years.